You're tuning in to V News, where we will bring you the latest events of the day. Coming up next are our top stories.
Top Vietnamese leaders meet with U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry. Prime Minister Nguyễn Tấn Dũng is on an official visit to Malaysia. Vietnamese artists design stand to welcome ASEAN community.
On August 7th, Vietnamese leaders met with U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry, who is in Vietnam for an official visit. Let's take a look. In a meeting with the U.S. Secretary of State, Party General Secretary Nguyễn Phú Trọng spoke highly of Kerry's role and active contribution to the Vietnam-U.S. relations. He stressed the need to boost mutual understanding and foster the comprehensive partnership between Vietnam and the U.S. in an effective manner. The party chief also acknowledged the efforts and goodwill demonstrated by both sides during the negotiation of the Trans-Pacific Partnership. The guest said the U.S. was keen to boost ties with Vietnam, an important partner in the region, and would do its utmost to accelerate the implementation of commitments with Vietnam in priority areas. He briefed his host on the U.S. viewpoint on the East Sea issue, the outcome of the TPP negotiations so far, and the next steps for concluding the talks on the agreement in the near future. In a reception for the U.S. Secretary of State, President Trương Tấn Sang said Vietnam highly valued its ties with the U.S., one of its top partners. He affirmed Vietnam's goodwill and active role in the negotiation of the Trans-Pacific Partnership, expressing hope that the remaining issues would be addressed during the TPP Foreign Ministers meeting later this month. President Sang applauded the U.S. and G7 stance on settling disputes in the East Sea and supporting Vietnam's viewpoint. Kerry said U.S. partial lifting of the ban on lethal weapons sales to Vietnam marked an important step forward in bilateral defense cooperation. He briefed his host on the consensus reached with ASEAN-related parties to condemn the recent construction efforts in the East Sea, while requesting them to abide by international law. Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Phạm Bình Minh and U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry held talks the same day. Minh suggested the two sides continue organizing high-ranking delegation exchanges and called upon the U.S. to be more flexible in order to conclude the negotiation of the TPP. He called for the U.S. full removal of the ban on sales of lethal weapons to Vietnam to strengthen mutual trust. Kerry pledged his country's support in broadening market access for Vietnamese goods, adding that the U.S. was also ready to help Vietnam in its response to climate change. Prime Minister Nguyễn Tấn Dũng is on an official visit to Malaysia. The visit aims to promote and deepen the bilateral comprehensive cooperation. Vietnam and Malaysia set up diplomatic ties in 1973 and signed a joint statement on the comprehensive cooperation framework in the 21st century in 2004. Malaysia is now one of Vietnam's 10 largest trade partners with stable trade growth every year, hitting nearly $3.1 billion in the first 5 months of this year. By April 2015, Malaysia was operating nearly 500 projects worth $11 billion in Vietnam, ranking 8th among countries and territories investing in the country. Meanwhile, Vietnam has 11 valid projects in Malaysia with a combined capital of over $800 million, focusing on oil and gas exploitation. Connections in other fields between the two nations have also seen strong development and brought about fruitful achievements. After the welcome ceremony, Prime Minister Nguyễn Tấn Dũng and his Malaysian counterpart Najib Razak held talks. They agreed that it was time for the two countries to promote their comprehensive partnership to a strategic partnership. They consented to the establishment of a deputy ministerial-level dialogue mechanism and signed a memorandum of understanding on joint patrols and the coordination of search and rescue, as well as anti-piracy missions. they decided to boost trade and accelerate investment projects in key areas such as oil and gas, electronics, consumer goods, and food processing. The Prime Ministers said the two countries should strive to maintain ASEAN's central role and common position on important issues relating to security and the interests of the bloc as well as individual member states. They shared their concern over the recent developments in the East Sea and affirmed the importance of ensuring peace, stability, security and freedom of navigation and aviation in the East Sea. Following the talks, the two Prime Ministers signed a statement on the Vietnam-Malaysia Strategic Partnership Framework. They also witnessed the signing of cooperation agreements on banking, labor and oil and gas. Vietnam actively participated in and contributed to the 48th ASEAN Foreign Ministers meeting and related meetings, which have freshly concluded in Malaysia. Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Phạm Bình Minh made the comment in an interview granted to the Vietnam News Agency.
The Deputy Prime Minister said Vietnam affirmed its dedication to the compliance with ASEAN commitments and to the establishment of the ASEAN community, as well as increasing ASEAN linkages and narrowing development gaps among member states.
Vietnam also submitted proposals on bolstering cooperation within ASEAN and between the bloc and partner countries. The country also completed its tenure as the coordinator between ASEAN and the European Union in the 2012 to 2015 period, contributing to the facilitation of practical processes between the two sides.
According to the Deputy Prime Minister, the establishment of the ASEAN community at the end of this year marks the start of a new process. ASEAN ministers deliberated visions for ASEAN's development in the next 10 years. He added that the meetings also involved the discussion of peace, security, and development in the region, including enhancing cooperation on terrorism and extremism prevention.
The participating ministers expressed their concern over the recent East Sea issue since it impacted on security, peace and stability in the region and beyond. They also emphasized the need for all parties to ensure the full and effective implementation of the Declaration on the Conduct of Parties in the East Sea, while expressing their determination to accelerate the negotiation on a Code of Conduct in the East Sea. The Vietnamese Ministry of Foreign Affairs organized a ceremony in Hanoi on August 7th to hoist the ASEAN flag in celebration of the bloc's 40th founding anniversary and 20 years of Vietnam's admission to the grouping.
Present at the ceremony were senior officials, along with representatives of the diplomatic corps in Hanoi and those from the embassy of ASEAN member states. The annual ASEAN flag-raising ceremony is held in each ASEAN member country to honor the common values and express the resolve to promote solidarity and cooperation. This year's event is of greater significance since the region is working towards the establishment of the ASEAN community at the end of 2015, and Vietnam is marking its 20th year of ASEAN membership. The ASEAN flag symbolizes the association unity, principles and efforts, as well as demonstrating a stable, peaceful and dynamic ASEAN.
A special stamp designed by a Vietnamese artist will be issued across 10 member countries of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations to celebrate the formation of the ASEAN community later this year. The Vietnam Post Corporation held a ceremony in Hanoi on August 7th to issue the stamp.
Speaking at the event, Minister of Information and Communication Nguyễn Bắc Son expressed his hope that the stamp, though small, would act as a symbol for the establishment, development and prosperity of an ASEAN community. The stamp was designed by Vietnamese artist Vũ Kim Liên. Her winning design was selected out of 30 submissions in the final round of a stamp design contest themed ASEAN, a vision, an identity, a community, to mark the launch of the ASEAN community at the end of 2015. Lin spent 6 months on selecting and arranging details and images to express the idea of an ASEAN community of peace, stability, cooperation and development in her stamp. She drew a number of sophisticated samples before selecting the best one. The first prize honors not only Lin, but also the Vietnam Post Corporation. This is the first time the company has won an important prize at an international stamp contest. This is also the first time its design is being officially published originally.
At the beginning, I found it hard to express the topic of the contest. I spent time seeking information about ASEAN, created the ideas for the stamp to best convey the motto of the contest: ASEAN, a vision, an identity, and a community.
The stamp depicts the 10 ASEAN member nations' flags arranged in the shape of 5-petal flower. The flower is suspended on 2 hands shaking, representing cooperation and friendship, against the background of a pile of yellow rice representing the region's wet rice agriculture. The stamp also features 2 doves, a symbol of peace and stability.
It was a big surprise as Vietnam has never won at international contests. The prize is an honor for me, the Vietnamese post sector, and artists as a whole.
Apart from Lin's stamp sample, Vietnam also won first prize for a special serial sample designed for a common ASEAN stamp collection using the ASEAN logo. ASEAN Post printed a special stamp collection of only 1 stamp with the country's names as well as each country's face value. The stamp will be published on August 10 in Indonesia to mark the 48th founding anniversary of the association.
The joint stamp issue was intended to help promote awareness of the role of ASEAN among agencies, organizations, and citizens in member countries, as well as promotes the active participation of members in cultural, educational, tourism-based, and economic exchanges.
The ASEAN community will be launched on 31st December this year, a milestone in the bloc history, creating a common roof for peace, cooperation, connectivity, and sustainable development.
Vietnam is introducing its tourism opportunities at a roadshow in Jakarta, Indonesia, by showing off many well-known destinations, including Da Nang, Quang Binh, Bình Thuận, and Sapa. The roadshow is one of the activities designed to promote Vietnam's image, culture, and tourism products, as well as to increase the number of visitors between the 2 countries. Vietnam also pledges to create favorable conditions for tourism enterprises and tour agencies on both sides to facilitate cooperation, ensuring mutual benefits. The number of Indonesian visitors to Vietnam exceeded 28,600 in the first 6 months of this year, putting the island nation in Vietnam's top 20 biggest markets. The roadshow, which is being held by the National Administration of Tourism, the Vietnam Embassy in Jakarta, and Vietnam Airlines, will close on August 7th. The Toyota Concert Tour, the 18th of its kind, has made its debut in Hanoi. The event kickstarts a series of similar concerts across Vietnam until August 13th.
The concert began with an overture honoring Vietnamese revolutionary songs and smoothly led audiences to classic music. Other revolutionary songs performed at the event attracted the undivided attention of audiences, thanks to an interesting mix between classical and modern styles. Audiences also had chances to enjoy masterpieces of renowned composers Tchaikovsky and Beethoven under the baton of Japanese conductor Hona Tetsuji. Young Vietnamese violinist Bùi Công Duy was among Vietnamese artists participating in the event.
I am so happy to perform at this year's concert. I appreciated Toyota's efforts to invite young Vietnamese artists to the event, as it is a good chance for them to perform and practice.
Vietnamese jazz tunes played by saxophonist virtuoso Trần Mạnh Tuấn left deep impression on audiences. Similar performances will also be organized in the central city of Da Nang on August 9, Ho Chi Minh City on August 11, and Thanh Hóa Province on August 13.
And we have reached the end of our news bulletin. Thank you for your attention. For more information, please log on to our website at www.vietnamplus.vn. We'll see you soon.